Welcome to UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television. This is What's the Tea at TFT. I'm Dean Celine, and we are very honored to have a wonderful, very special guest, Bianca Nepales.
Thank you.
Who is the former Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Lionsgate, and now is our Special Advisor for Industries and Impact at UCLA TFT. Welcome, Bianca.
Thank you.
Let me say that the very first time I met you was when we engaged at Lionsgate, and you interviewed me on stage about my film. But more recently,
Yes,
Bianca served as the keynote for the TOFA 100 Most Influential Filipinos in the World Awards in Las Vegas just last weekend. And Bianca Nepales delivered singularly the very best speech I have heard in my entire career.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you said?
Well, TOFA is the only living encyclopedia of Filipinos around the world. And it really is a document of what we're doing, how we're not just moving through the world, but we're resisting, we're rebelling, we're dreaming. And so it was such an honor to be really the class speaker and to capture this moment. And I knew I wanted to make it as playful and pervert the traditional ways that we usually hear long like speeches too. So I flipped TOFA and turned it into TOFU, the Outstanding Filipinos Uprising. And by the time I went on, it was already close to 11 p.m. So then I had to shorten it even more and just said, hey, we should just call ourselves FU. And then led a great call and response to say, FU to fascism, to the dictators who try to silence us, FU to immigration violence, to being called you're not good enough, FU to not, again, being seen, valued, and heard.
I love that so much. You know, being one of the honorees, that really hit me to say that the recognition was just the beginning. It really touches me to hear you say Filipinos Uprising comes from the People Power movement and how that revolution is really in our bloodline, because our last collaboration was bringing Lav Diaz's film Magellan to UCLA TFT. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, so Lav is known for his slow cinema, and he's usually creates 9-hour films. But we're so honored, and we can't think of a better home to launch the North American premiere than UCLA, because it questions the very like slipperiness of historical myth making, and who gets to define truth. And especially in this day and age where people like fantasize about being kings, the film, it lets the audience linger on the violence in very sobering ways. So we had a packed house, filling your James Bridge Theater, and then to have Lav and Gael come and join in conversation afterwards. We're so excited to see how the film is going to be not just a cultural moment, but a historical touchstone.
Thank you so much, because the mission of UCLA Theater, Film, and Television is not only to nurture independent voices of creative courage.
Yes.
Really, it's to utilize the newest and oldest technological innovations to create social impact. And you've had such an illustrious career that involves both community organizations, the highest levels of industry, and as well as collaborations with various, nonprofits, for example. Could you talk about where you gain your power?
I wish someone had told me earlier in my career that the people who are most impacted by the bias have the clearest vision for a better solution. So for me, I've gone from classrooms to cinema to code. From the classroom, it's just been one long journey, one long experiment in curiosity and systems thinking. And the classroom taught me, from working with students in South LA to the Philippines to Mexico to Malaysia to Nepal, that we need to be able to think critically about the stories we tell. And then Hollywood showed me that we can also inspire those stories by showing them on screen, on film. And then now AI, we can literally build the systems that are going to live justice. So I'm really excited to continue to follow my operating principles, which is to keep people at the center, use systems to scale, and then transformation is the goal. So regardless of industry or industries, it's all about that kind of impact that's led me to continue to follow what's next. And I know that AI is going to be the new medium for how we are going to tell speculative futures and what kind of world we want to live in.
Yeah. I keep thinking about the way in which we're going to tackle the challenges, opportunities, and fears around AI and higher education through this question, which is, if higher education, which it is, all about creating an analytic and creative citizenry, AI should lead us not towards sluggishness, not towards dopamine-induced stupor because AI can create what we think we want, right? So where do you see that space of creativity, the need for human creativity, as well as utilizing innovation towards that end?
I would hope that Audre Lorde would call this algorithmic self-determination. And I am if I'm a student and I'm looking for, do I A, choose traditional filmmaking, B, like the latest technological tools, or C, social justice innovation? It's all three. And UCLA is this incredible hybrid of creative, technological innovation and impact. That's why I'm so excited to be an advisor, to think about industries and impact.
You and I have been reading the same book all summer, Towards a More Perfect Rebellion, which, as you know, tells the story of TFT engaging with Los Angeles towards changing the world with aesthetic, as well as, new forms of collaboration. Could you talk about it in this way, which is, you led diversity and inclusion initiatives at one of the biggest Hollywood industry companies in the world. You're connected with so many of the chief diversity officers. This is still unfinished business. So
absolutely,
what are you excited about in terms of, new dimensions that you're going to enter, carrying with you all the knowledge that you've gained at the front lines, and the way that you approach the world in reading about history, and, taking that with you?
Yes. To all the mother muckers, right? The multicultural urban creative community, or
That's right.
So that I really took to heart.
Yeah,
Again,
that was a name in of the Ethno Communications LA Rebellion program right here.
Yes. Yeah. Same with the FU, Filipinos Uprising. So to be mother muckers, FUers, it's that kind of, again, the title's so well named, A More Perfect Rebellion, and
made in LA.
Made in LA. And so what I'm excited, I've already shared, just to be reminded of our history so we could define our future more clearly. Just excited to see what this rebellion looks like in this day and age. And again, it's about how stories are how we are going to scale the systems we want to live in. So thank you for holding that light.
Yes, we rise together.
Yes,
exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.